Hello, my name is Brendan Bruno, and tonight I'll be discussing part two of the Marriott International MG300 Spring 2020 Capstone project. All right, we'll start off with the strategic SWOT analysis. To understand the external environment of Marriott International, it is imperative to analyze the opportunities and threats of the hotel industry. A SWOT analysis analyzes the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Opportunities and threats are external environmental conditions to the firm, while strengths and weaknesses are part of a company's internal environment. Opportunities and threats could be factors in the general environment or competitive environment. Overall, the SWOT analysis helps a firm learn and take advantage of opportunities and learn how to protect themselves from threats. Marriott constantly needs to survey their external environment through environmental scanning, monitoring, competitive intelligence, and forecasting. Spotting key trends will also help Marriott identify emerging trends among consumers and spot any changes to the consumer's behavior and buying pattern. Since Marriott is a leader in the hotels and motels industry, they can raise prices on their premier and luxurious hotel rooms, and consumers will still seek out these hotels. All right, now talking a little bit about the general environment analysis. The general environment of a firm is composed of six factors that affect a firm's strategy. These factors consist of demographic, sociocultural, political, legal, technological, economic, and global segments. I will begin to analyze both opportunities and threats and formulate proper actions Marriott should take in addressing these concerns. Starting with demographic characteristics, these characteristics can include anything from an aging population, rising affluence, geographic distribution of a population, and disparities of income levels. Two opportunities Marriott is presented with is an affluent spending on hotel rooms and increase in global travel. More people are willing to spend money on luxurious and premier hotels. Marriott should study where consumers are traveling, what hotels are being frequented most, and how much consumers are willing to spend on a hotel room in order to maximize profit. In regards to increased global travel for both business and pleasure, the United Nations World Tourism Organization stated international tourism arrivals grew by 6% in 2018. With these demographic opportunities, Marriott is presented with the opportunity to open more hotels and rooms so they can capitalize its returns and ultimately grow the size of the company, increase brand awareness, and achieve economies of scale. Two threats that can be seen within the demographic segment are an aging population and rising consumer demand. With human beings living longer and longer each year, there will be a greater demand for hotel rooms. Although Marriott is presented with the opportunity to open hotel rooms, they might not be able to keep up with demands and provide the exceptional service they are known for. Marriott prides themselves with empowering women and providing job opportunities to refugees and people with disabilities. Talking about the socio-cultural opportunities now, this allows Marriott to stand out from competitors and make a difference in the communities they serve. Another sociocultural opportunity is the emphasis they put on sustainability. Marriott is constantly seeking to integrate sustainability across its value chain to minimize client-related risk. This would not only reduce their environmental footprint, but would appeal to consumers that are eco-friendly. However, the lodging industry has seen an increase in human trafficking instances over the past decade. Since 2007, 1,434 cases of human trafficking in hotels and motels have been reported to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center. Marriott has swiftly addressed this issue and made human trafficking training mandatory for all employees at all levels, and has already trained 500,000 employees on how to spot and address this critical issue. Another sociocultural threat is the prevalence of global warming. Hotels must make sure that their new hotels are sustainable. Marriott has already implemented a goal to make sure 100% of their hotels will be certified to a recognized sustainability standard by 2025. All right, moving on to political and legal characteristics in the general environment analysis. Political and legal opportunities that are presented to Marriott include political stability in the United States and innkeeper and truth in menu laws. Political stability in the United States has allowed tourism to flourish because of the positive image of the U.S. political climate. In addition, innkeeper laws ensure the safety and welfare of hotel guests, and truth in menu laws assure hotels are informing guests about the food and beverages they are consuming. Luckily for Marriott, they have made it a goal to locally source 50% of produce by 2025 and locally source 95% of products by 2025 in categories such as meats, bottled water, and cleaning supplies. These laws put in place for hotels help Marriott avoid lawsuits, which is seen as a legal threat to the hotel industry. In addition to this threat, the political climate of a country can disrupt the function of a hotel, such as implementing travel bans. Technological attributes can range anywhere from genetic engineering to big data and data analytics. Big data can be especially helpful to the hotel industry in studying the characteristics of its target audience and help enhance the consumer experience by spotting key trends in consumer opinions. With mobile tablets and smartphones replacing large computers, consumers are booking their hotel reservations through mobile platforms. With this, Marriott has the opportunity to personalize their website and make it a user friendly platform to use on any device. As a result, Marriott can see a smoother flow between operations and improved services with customer experience. However, Marriott has to compete with competitors that are specifically using mobile platforms, such as Airbnb, which is currently the hotel industry's biggest competitor. With Airbnb, com- consumers can easily book rooms from a wide selection available on a mobile app, all the way from a single room at a homeowner's home or to a room in a premier hotel. Consumers are looking more towards cheap rooms from this app when hotels increase their room prices during peak seasons. Another threat Marriott might see is negative reviews on social media, blogs, and other sites. With apps like Yelp or even Facebook, negative consumer experiences can severely damage Marriott's reputation. With fast sharing news, Marriott needs to learn how to respond quickly and appropriately to any negative guest experiences. All right. Marriott is also presented with many economic opportunities. There are numerous untapped markets that Marriott can target. Marriott recently offered discounts and specialties to LGBTQ consumers in that market segment. By studying consumer demographics from other markets, this could be a huge opportunity for the success of Marriott. Another opportunity is Marriott can return significant amounts to investors. Most recently, Marriott saw a total return of 2.9 billion US dollars to shareholders for 2019. This massive return could possibly attract potential investors. With strengths and opportunities come many threats. There are also many economic threats that could drastically hurt the profit of this business. The biggest threat facing the hospitality industry, especially Marriott, is the threat of an economic recession. Global recessions and even domestic recessions tend to have a harsh impact on the hospitality business. This could force many hotels to close properties with consumers not spending money on hotels and therefore being unable to generate revenue and contract the overall growth of Marriott. In addition to this, the sharing economy with new apps like Airbnb and Homestay threatens Marriott's ability to generate income. According to a Morgan Stanley report, hotel cannibalization from Airbnb was around 51% in 2017. With this article being 3 years old now, it is assumed that this has risen. Finally, the emergence of developing countries' economies presents Marriott with multiple opportunities. Consumers now have money to spend on hotel rooms, and Marriott can start to build properties in these countries. Marriott can now have access to potential larger markets and a broad range of suppliers and investors. Another advantage is Marriott being able to diversify their portfolio in foreign country economies. If economic growth was stunted in the US, growth in another economy could offset the losses. The biggest threat plaguing the hotel industry is the risk of a terror attack. Consumers would not want to frequent properties or countries where there was a terror attack or a high risk chance of a terror attack. A report published by Meyer Brown states that there have been 160 terror attacks on or at hotels between 1970 and 2016. Another threat affecting Marriott is the US China trade war. All right. And talking about the competitiveness of the industry now, look using Porter's five forces analysis. We will begin to discuss the competition. So competition, which will be discussed later in the competitor analysis, is a threat to any business. Brands such as Hilton, Hyatt, and Host Hotels constantly try to beat one another to become the primary leader of the hospitality industry. Managers must constantly evaluate the competitive environment of their business to try to create an achievable competitive advantage. The competitive environment consists of many factors that affect a firm's strategy. These factors include existing or potential competitors, customers, and suppliers. To examine the industry level competitive environment and the ability businesses have in a specific industry to set prices and minimize costs relevant to competitors, businesses use the five forces model. The five forces model was developed by Michael E. Porter and has five basic components. These components are the threat of new entrants, the bargaining power of buyers, the bargaining power of suppliers, the threat of substitute products and services, and the intensity of rivalry among competitors in an industry. All right, threat of new entrants is always a concern for any company in any industry. Hotels and motels are constantly seeking new ways of doing things, such as offering lower prices, reducing costs, and providing hopeful and value propositions to consumers. Airbnb is a room sharing site that is quickly gaining momentum and offers even more rooms than Marriott in areas that Marriott doesn't have properties. Marriott can overcome the threat of new entrants by innovating existing products and services by developing new ones that will bring in new consumers. This can lead to strong brand identity and customer loyalty. Marriott can also expand on economies of scale and increase their spending on research and development to discourage other competitors from entering a dynamic industry. The threat of new entrants force can be seen as high. The bargaining power of buyers can also be a threat to Marriott. Buyers are constantly trying to bargain down prices and demand a higher quality of goods and services. They will play competitors against each other for the best price and best service. This puts a long-term strain on Marriott's profitability. To avoid a high bargaining power of buyers, Marriott can build a large consumer base that will ultimately reduce the bargaining power of buyers and allow the firm to maximize its sales and production process. Marriott can successfully achieve this by expanding upon pre-established properties and creating superior facilities such as spas, gyms, and even golf complexes to gain brand recognition and customer loyalty. Again, Marriott can also develop and innovate newer or existing products to limit the bargaining power of buyers, since consumers usually seek discounts on pre existing products. Therefore, the bargaining power of buyers can be seen as low. Suppliers can apply bargaining power by threatening to raise prices or reduce the quality of goods and services. Since most companies in the lodging industry purchase from more than one supplier, Marriott can work on building a sound supply chain with multiple suppliers. When Marriott buys from more than one supplier, they can shift to another if one supplier were to raise their prices to avoid extraction of higher prices from suppliers in a dominant position. Another way to overcome the bargaining power of suppliers is to source from suppliers whose business depends on Marriott. This will allow Marriott to have all the power over its supplier. Since Marriott relies heavily on tech companies to supply the technology they need for surveillance cameras, checking guests in and out, and software to train employees and book hotel rooms, the suppliers have significant power. With that being said, the bargaining power of suppliers is seen as moderate. The threat of substitute products or services is defined as the threat of limiting the potential returns of an industry by placing a ceiling on prices that firms in the industry can profitably charge without losing too many customers to substitute products. Profitability of a company suffers when a new product or service meets similar consumers' needs. I'm sorry, I just went back. Anyway, the threat of substitute products or services is defined as the threat of limiting the potential returns of an industry by placing a ceiling on the prices that a firm in an industry can profitably charge without losing too many customers to substitute products. Profitability of a company suffers when a new product or service meets a similar consumer's needs in different ways. Substitute products are simply defined as products and services outside of the industry that serve the same customer needs as the industry's products and services. Substitute products in the hotel industry is seen as different. Substitute products of hotel industry sees are different types of lodging, such as camping, RV, staying with friends and family, and using room sharing sites like Airbnb. Therefore, Marriott must focus on not only being product focused, but service focused too. They need to understand the core needs of their consumer base rather than just studying what the consumer is buying and what they are not. Finally, by increasing switching costs, Marriott can increase the value of their products and services to give customers more value if they remain loyal. Threat of substitute products is seen as low. All right. Lastly, again, I apologize about not being able to go back. I don't know why. I just figured I would just go on, and I'm just going to keep talking. But I just did talk about threat of substitute products and services. So, talking lastly about the intensity of rivalry among competitors in an industry. If competition in an industry is intense, it will drive down prices to put an advantage over another competitor offering the same product or service. With decreased prices leads to decreased profitability. To eliminate the risk of reduced profits, Marriott can partner with competitors to increase market share rather than just competing in an overall saturated small market. Again, Marriott must continue to differentiate themselves from competitors. With low exit barriers and implementing switching costs, this will allow firms the potential to stop competing and to start and earn positive returns on their investments. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about their competitor analysis, which is part of a strategic group analysis. So when conducting an industry analysis, it is indisputable that no two firms are totally different and no two firms are exactly alike. Strategic groups consist of grouping firms together that share similar qualities and strategies. Identifying strategic groups is crucial because rivalry tends to be greater among businesses that are alike. In addition to this, strategic groups can also be used as an analytical tool too for firms. First, to treat strategic groupings help a firm identify barriers for mobility that protect a group from attacks by other groups. And according to Merchant Online, Marriott's three biggest competitors are the Walt Disney Co., Lowe's Corporation, and Hilton Worldwide Holdings, Inc. It is clear that all three of these companies have different purposes, brand images, and servicing dealers. Strategic grouping also helps a firm identify groups whose competitive position may be marginal or tenuous. Marriott is seen overall as a luxurious brand. Lowe's Corporation is also seen as a luxurious brand. Marriott's market cap is almost doubled, however, compared to Lowe's. All right. Another value of using strategic grouping is the ability to help a firm make future decisions of firm strategies. So, if these competitors are moving in the same direction, Marriott can think of a way to differentiate themselves and have a unique product offering to lower future volatility and competition. The last valuable factor of strategic grouping is that strategic groups are helpful in thinking through the implications of each industry trend for strategic grouping as a whole. All right. And talking about competitor one, the Walt Disney Co. Walt Disney is an entertainment company that has segments in media, networks, park experience, and products and studio entertainment. It currently employs 223,000 people globally and has 850,000 shareholders. Market cap is 222.72 billion US dollars and reported revenue of 75.13 billion dollars. Net income is totaled to 10.37 billion US dollars, however. Competitor two is Lowe's Corporation. Lowe's Corporation is a holding company comprised of four individual operating subsidiaries, one of which is the Lowe's Hotels Holding Corporation, which operates a chain of hotels. This hotel chain only employs 18,605 people. It has 700 shareholders and has a market cap of 14.1 billion US dollars. It reported a revenue of 14.93 billion US dollars and reported net income of 932 million. Finally, competitor three is Hilton Worldwide Holdings, Inc. Hilton Worldwide Holdings, Inc. is an American based multinational hospitality company that manages and franchises a broad portfolio of hotels and resorts. It currently employs 173,000 people, has only 13 shareholders, a market cap of 27.16 billion US dollars, revenue of about 10 billion US dollars, and net income of $881 million. And as you can see, you might think that this would be Marriott's biggest competitor, being a well-known hotel brand. As you can see in the background, it has hotels such as the Waldorf Astoria, Embassy Suites, Hilton Hotels and Resorts, and the Hilton Grand Vacations. These are all hotels under their portfolio, but as you know, in which we talked about in the first presentation, Marriott has a lot more luxurious hotels like the St. Regis, Moxie, and Bulgari. So that will conclude my second presentation on MG300. And thank you for tuning in and have a good night.